Astronomers, the 21st of December is a very special date indeed. The great conjunction of the solar system's two biggest worlds shall occur on the last solstice this year. Meeting every 20 years, mighty planet Jupiter and gloriously ring Saturn make 2020 their great year as they are to meet the closest at only zero point 0.1 degrees ever since the Middle Ages in 1623. Catch the live stream simulation of the Great Conjunction through Stellarium, a computer simulation program, this December 21st to witness the meeting of these gas giants. This has been Ace Mendoza of BSYA, reminding you to keep reaching for the stars.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone.
Good evening, this is Professor Jun Cajigal. Now, the upcoming Great Conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn will be on December 21, 2020, the day of the December solstice. These two worlds will be visibly closer in our sky than they have been since medieval times in 1226. At their closest, Jupiter and Saturn will be only 0.1 degree apart. It will be the first Jupiter-Saturn conjunction since the year 2000, and the closest Jupiter-Saturn conjunction since 1623, only 14 years after Galileo made his first telescope. Now, how do we witness this historic astronomical event? Now, in the northern hemisphere, just after sunset, look in the southwest sky and you will be able to see the two neighboring lights above the horizon. You can see Jupiter and Saturn close to one another throughout the month of December, above the southwest horizon for a couple of hours after sunset. The closest alignment will be on Monday, December 21, 2020. Now, while we wait for this historic astronomical event, we will be conducting a simulation using this program called Stellarium on what to expect and observe before and on December 21. This prelude of the Great Conjunction will give us an idea on what to expect as we wait for this historic astronomical event. So before we proceed to our simulation using Stellarium of this great conjunction, let's watch this fascinating video about the Jupiter-Saturn conjunction and other astronomical events for December 2020. So let's watch this.
Jupiter and Saturn have been traveling across the sky together all year, but this month, get ready for them to really put on a show. Over the first 3 weeks of December, watch each evening as the two planets get closer in the sky than they've appeared in 2 decades. Look for them low in the southwest in the hour after sunset. And on December 21st, the two giant planets will appear just 1/10 of a degree apart. That's about the thickness of a dime held at arm's length. This means the two planets and their moons will be visible in the same field of view through binoculars or a small telescope. In fact, Saturn will appear as close to Jupiter as some of Jupiter's moons. This event is called a Great Conjunction. These occur every 20 years this century as the orbits of Earth, Jupiter, and Saturn periodically align, making these two outer planets appear close together in our nighttime sky. Even so, this is the greatest Great Conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn for the next 60 years, with the two planets not appearing this close in the sky until 2080. The 21st is also the date of the December solstice, which is the winter solstice in the northern hemisphere and the summer solstice in the southern hemisphere. On the December solstice, the sun reaches its southernmost position in the sky, no matter where on Earth you happen to be. In the northern hemisphere, the sun travels its lowest, shortest path across the sky on that day. Thus, in the north, the winter solstice brings the shortest day of the year in terms of hours of sunlight. Now, the sun's changing height in the sky throughout the year is caused by Earth's tilt as it orbits our local star. The tilt causes the amount of sunlight each hemisphere receives to go up and down in the annual cycle of the seasons. Here are the phases of the moon for December.
So isn't that fascinating about that video that explains what to expect on December 21, 2020 and some of the astronomical events that will occur in this last month of 2020. Okay, so I guess we can now proceed to our computer simulation of this great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn for December 21, 2020. Now, I will be using this computer program called Stellarium. So we will simulate the Jupiter-Saturn approach starting December 7 until we reach its closest approach on December 21. So come with me and let's learn and be fascinated about this great conjunction through our computer simulation using Stellarium. Hello, good evening. This is Jun Cajigal and we are simulating the day-to-day appearance of Jupiter and Saturn as we prepare for the so-called grand or great conjunction that will occur on December 21, 2020. So we will be using this program called Stellarium to more or less simulate the appearance of Jupiter and Saturn in the night sky on a daily basis until we reach December 21, 2020 in the so-called grand or the great conjunction. So if you will focus your attention on the program Stellarium, we are simulating December 7, 2020 at around 6:10 in the evening. So if you will face the southwestern sky, pag humarap kayo po sa southwestern sky, so this would be the appearance of Jupiter and Saturn. So medyo malapit na silang magtagpo until pagdating ng December 21, if we face the southwestern sky, magiging parang single star na lang yung dalawa. Pero right now, ito po yung appearance ng Jupiter and Saturn. So medyo malapit na. We have how many days to go before December 21? Okay, so let's magnify Jupiter and Saturn. So let's zoom in on Jupiter first. Whoa. 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 Okay. So para rin po tayong gumamit ng telescope dito. Okay, so you could see here the 4 Galilean moons. Ganyan yung kanyang appearance. This is December 7, 2020 at around 6:11 in the evening. So in their order, we have Ganymede, Io, Callisto, and Europa. So that would be the appearance of the Galilean moons. Fascinating, isn't it? Okay? So if you will grab your telescope and point it at Jupiter, so ganyan po yung magiging appearance ng Galilean moons. Okay, so let's now magnify Saturn. Alright, so this is the magnificent ringed planet Saturn. Whoa. 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 Alright, so this would be the appearance of Saturn on December 7, 2020 at about 6:12 in the evening. Alright, so we could see here several moons, Titan, and look at the magnificent rings surrounding Saturn. Okay. Alright, so that's Saturn on December 7, 2020. Alright, so let's go back to our original image. Okay. So that would be the appearance of Jupiter and Saturn on December 7, 2020 if you will face the southwest sky. Okay, so medyo malapit na yung meet up, yung kanilang pagtatagpo or the so-called grand conjunction. Okay. Okay, magandang gabi po. I'm back and we are simulating the appearance of Jupiter and Saturn using Stellarium. So today is December 8, 2020. So we are simulating that day, December 8, 2020, the appearance of Jupiter and Saturn. So right now, it's 6:14 in the evening of December 8. Okay? So sa Stellarium po yan. And this would be the appearance of Jupiter and Saturn on December 8. So medyo malapit-lapit na as compared to yesterday. Okay, December 7 ito medyo malapit na. Okay? Alright, so we are preparing for that great conjunction on December 21. Okay, so if you will face the southwestern sky on December 8, ganito yung magiging appearance ng Jupiter and Saturn. So medyo malapit na yung kanilang tagpuan or meet up. Okay, let's magnify Jupiter. Ano kayo magiging appearance ng kanilang Galilean moons? Alright, so whoa. 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 Alright, so this is Jupiter on December 8. Wow. Okay. Yan. So this would be the appearance of Jupiter with its Galilean moons on December 8. Nakahilera in order: Europa, then you have Jupiter, then Io, Ganymede, and Callisto. Alright, fascinating, isn't it? Okay, so that's Jupiter with its Galilean moons. Alright, let's magnify Saturn. Okay, magiging appearance ng Saturn on December 8th. So, here we go. Whoa. Whoa. Wow, magnificent. Ayan, so that would be the appearance of Saturn on December 8th. Okay? Ayan po. So that's Saturn. Truly magnificent. Ayan. So kung may telescope po kayo and if you will point your telescope at Saturn, so ganito yung magiging appearance niya. Alright. So that's fascinating, isn't it? Okay, let's put the image back. Balik tayo dun sa kanilang malapit na pagtatagpo. Yan. Okay. So that would be the appearance of Jupiter and Saturn on December 8th if you will face the southwestern sky. Ayan to yung south, west. And we have here Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, malapit na. Okay, so right now it's 6:17 in the evening. Hello, good evening. This is Jun Cajigal and I am using this program called Stellarium to simulate the appearance of Jupiter and Saturn. This is in preparation for the great or the grand conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn this coming December 21, 2020. So we are using this program called Stellarium to more or less simulate the appearance of Jupiter and Saturn in the night sky. So we are simulating December 9, 2020. So you're looking at the night sky on December 9, 2020 at about 5:58. So it's almost 6 o'clock. And if you will notice, medyo malapit na yung Jupiter and Saturn. Halos magkadikit na sila. Okay? Alright, so let's magnify our image and let's zoom in on the mighty Jupiter. So tingnan natin kung ano yung appearance ng mga Galilean Moons on December 9, 2020. Alright, so here we go. Whoa. 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 Okay. So, this is the mighty Jupiter with its Galilean moons. Okay. Alright. So, ayan. So you will notice that Europa and Io halos magkadikit sila. And we have Ganymede and Callisto. Ayan. Okay. So parang tatlo lang yung Galilean moons. But if you will magnify further, ayan. Ayan yung Europa and Io halos magkadikit sila. Okay. So that would be the appearance of Jupiter with the Galilean moons on December 9, 2020. So you will notice nag-iiba yung mga position ng Galilean moons. This was observed by Galileo himself. So ang sinabi niya that Jupiter is like a miniature solar system. So yung mga moons yan umiikot sa Jupiter. Okay? Alright, so fascinating indeed. Okay. So that's Jupiter. And let's magnify the planet. Wow, amazing. Alright, so that's Jupiter with the great red spot and the equatorial bands. Yung north equatorial band and this is the south equatorial band. Alright, so that's Jupiter through the eyes of Stellarium. Okay, let's now zoom in on Saturn. Okay, so Saturn naman tayo. Ayan, so this is Saturn. And let's magnify. So here we go. Whoa. Whoa. Okay, that's Saturn. Okay, wow. We could see now the rings of Saturn. Ayan. So kung may telescope kayo, if you will point your telescope at Saturn, ayan, ito yung makikita ninyo. You could see now some of the moons. Okay. Alright. And the magnificent rings of Saturn. Fantastic. Okay, so that is the magnificent Saturn. Alright, so balik na natin. So, halos magkalapit na sila, Jupiter and Saturn. If you will look at the southwestern sky, ito yung makikita ninyo. Alright, so yan. So, halos magkadikit na sila, Jupiter and Saturn. Ito, mga almost 6 o'clock. So, ganito yung makikita nyo at that time on December 9, 2020. Okay. So, isn't that fascinating, di ba? Alright. Okay, so good evening po, and we're back. Again, we are using this program called Stellarium to simulate the appearance of Jupiter and Saturn in the night sky in preparation for the so-called grand or the great conjunction that will occur on December 21, 2020. So, the Stellarium that you see right now is set to December 10, 2020 at around 6 o'clock p.m. So, without the aid of a telescope, this is what you will see in the night sky. If we will face southwest, then you will see Jupiter and Saturn. So, if you will notice, medyo magkalapit na yung dalawa. Okay, so that's Jupiter and Saturn. Alright, so halos magtatagpo na yung dalawang giant planets. Yan, lalo na pag December 21, you will see a single bright star. Pero ito, makikita pa natin ang Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, so let us now zoom in on Jupiter. Tignan natin yung appearance ng Galilean Moons. So, tingnan natin kung may pagbabago dun sa position nila. Okay? So, here we go. Whoa. Whoa. Whoa, para tayong gumagamit ng telescope. Whoa, so, wow, fantastic. So, this is the mighty Jupiter with the 4 Galilean moons. Alright, so this is in order. So, yung malaking that's Jupiter. And we have the following: Io, Europa, Ganymede, and Callisto. Medyo malayo si Callisto. Yan. Okay, so this would be the appearance of Jupiter and the Galilean moons on December 10, 2020 at about 6:03 p.m. Alright? Ayan, fascinating. Okay, let's zoom in on the planet itself. Ayan, so that's Jupiter. Ayan. Okay, parang nag-move yung Great Red Spot. Okay, so that's Jupiter. Okay, fascinating. Ayan. And Galilean Moons. Callisto, medyo malayo. And you have the 3 moons here: Io, Europa, Ganymede, and ito, Callisto. Okay, so let's zoom in on Saturn. Yeah, para tayo nagte-telescope. Okay, so this is Saturn. And let's magnify the image of Saturn. So here we go. Whoa. Saturn. Oh yan, wow. Ayan, parang nagbago din yung position ng mga moons. Alright, that's Saturn and its ring system. Wow. Amazing. Yan, so that's Saturn. Okay. Yan, alright. Okay, so siguro i-pause natin. Yan, para hindi siya gumagalaw. Yan, okay, much better. So this is the magnificent ringed planet Saturn. Wow. Alright. Ito yung this is the Cassini division. Yan, ito. Yan. Pero pag tunay na telescope to, hindi kaya ng telescope ko ito. Kasi malayo masyado ang Saturn. Yung nagagawa lang natin to using Stellarium. Ladies and gentlemen. Pero pag regular telescope to, hindi to kakayanin. Alright, you can see here the Cassini division. Fantastic. Alright. Okay. So that's Saturn. Sige, balik na natin. Let's go back to Jupiter kasi gumagalaw kanina yung ating Stellarium program. Okay, let's go behind. Bumating na yung Jupiter. Okay, zoom ulit natin yung Jupiter. Whoa. Whoa, and you can see here the Galilean Moons. Ayan, okay, this is Jupiter. And this is Io, Europa, Ganymede, and way here is Callisto. Ayan, okay, so ganyan ang position ng Galilean Moons on December 10, 2020. So ganito makikita nyo if you will be using a telescope. Ayan, okay? Alright, so fantastic, isn't it? Ayan, so tignan ulit natin. Pag wala naman telescope, ganito makikita nyo sa night sky. If you face up kayo sa southwest, ayan, and you will see those two bright stars in the southwestern sky. So that's Jupiter and Saturn. Ayan, so medyo malapit na. Magdidikit na sila. Okay? So that's really fascinating. So our simulation here is dated December 10, 2020 at about 6 o'clock in the evening. Alright, so that's our simulation using Stellarium. Good evening, everybody. This is Jun Cajigal again, and we are using this program called Stellarium to simulate the appearance of Jupiter and Saturn in the night sky in preparation for the so-called grand or the great conjunction that will occur on December 21, 2020. So our simulation now is set, or it is dated at December 11, 2020 at about 6:10 in the evening. Alright, so this would be the appearance of Jupiter and Saturn. Yan, so medyo malapit na. Okay, halos magdidikit na yung dalawang planeta. Okay, so by December 21, ano na lang yan, they would appear as a single bright star in the southwestern sky. Okay? Alright, so let's magnify Jupiter. Tignan natin yung appearance saka yung arrangement ng mga Galilean moons. Okay, so here we go. Whoa. 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 Alright, so this is Jupiter. Ayan, ay nagbago yung position ng mga moons. So pag gumagamit kayo ng telescope, parang tatlong maliliit na stars lang makikita nyo surrounding Jupiter. Pero apat yan talaga. So this is Io. And this is Europa. And way over here is Callisto. Ayan. So, nasan si Ganymede? Okay. So, let's magnify even further. And this is Ganymede. Yun. Okay. Alright. So, this is Io. Yun. Pinapalayo si Io. Then, this is Ganymede. Ganymede is the largest moon in the solar system. And this is the mighty Jupiter. And with the equatorial bands, very distinct yung mga atmospheric bands ng Jupiter. Alright, fascinating. Itong dalawang to, kitang-kita yan sa ordinary telescope. Lalo na pag yung telescope malakas. Or naka-Barlow lens kayo. Alright, a Barlow lens is a telenegative amplifier. It increases the focal length of your telescope para pag kinubkit nyo yung magnification ng telescope nyo, medyo mag-i-increase yung magnification. Okay, then this is Europa. Ayan, Europa is really a fascinating moon because we know that Europa is covered with water ice. So pag may ice, ibig sabihin may liquid water sa ilalim. And when there's water, there is life. Okay? And we have here Callisto, malayo. So, malayo si Callisto, yan. Okay, so that would be the appearance of the Galilean Moons on December 11, 2020 at about 6:10. Okay, in the evening. Okay, so let's zoom in on Saturn. Ayan, this is Saturn. Tignan natin yung appearance ng Saturn on December 11. Whoa. 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 Wow. Fascinating. Yan. So that's the magnificent Saturn. So parang nabawasan yung mga moons. Yan. Pero gumagalaw yan. Parang Jupiter din yan. Saturn is surrounded by about more than 50, 60 plus moons. The largest moon here is Titan. Okay. And Titan is the only moon in the solar system that has an atmosphere. Okay. Ayan, nabisita ng Saturn. Marami na rin like Voyager, Cassini-Huygens. Ayan, okay? Alright. Ayan. Okay, pero pag ordinary telescope to, hindi ito yung makikita ninyo. Kasi masyadong malayo ang Saturn. So siguro pag ordinary telescope, ito yung ganito. Ito yung actual image na makikita nyo. Yung ganyan lang po kaliit. Okay, pero you can see the rings. Yan, okay? Ayan, nagagawa lang natin to because of this computer program. Yan, pag nagmamagnify tayo ng image na ganyan. Pero pag ordinary telescope, ganito lang yung makikita natin. Ito yung actual image. Yan, ganyan lang po. Pero you can see the rings. Oh. Kita naman yung rings. Okay? Nung nakita nga ito ni Galileo sa 200 years ago, akala niya rabbit's ears yung rings. Ayan, okay? Alright. Then, sa ordinary telescope, yan, even yung mga yung talagang mumurahin na telescope or even binoculars. So, ganito yung makikita natin sa Jupiter. Yan, ganyan. Kita naman yung mga moons. Okay, yan. Mga, more or less ganito. Yan. Okay? Alright, but without the aid of a telescope, if you will face southwest, ganito makikita ninyo. Ayan. Okay, ayun. So, those two bright stars, that's Jupiter and Saturn. Ayan, this is December 11, 2020 at 6:10 in the evening. So, ganyan po yung makikita natin using Stellarium. Okay? So, that's really fascinating indeed. Hello, we're back. And we are using this program called Stellarium to simulate the appearance of Jupiter and Saturn as we prepare for the great or the grand conjunction that will occur on December 21, 2020. So our simulation is set to December 12, 2020 at about 6:11 in the evening. So, as you could see, medyo malapit na ang Jupiter and Saturn. Halos malapit na sila talagang magdikit. Okay? Alright, so that is really fascinating yan. Halos magkadikit na yung dalawa. So, our simulation is set to December 12, 2020 at about 6:12 in the evening. Okay? Alright, so as usual, tignan natin yung appearance ng Jupiter with its Galilean Moons. Tignan natin kung may nagbago dun sa kanyang position. Okay, so here we go. Whoa! Ayan, so halos magkadikit na nga yung Jupiter and Saturn. No? Whoa! 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 Yun, fascinating indeed. Ayan, so naka-align na naman yung apat. Saka nag-iba yung position nila as compared to yesterday's appearance of Jupiter with the Galilean Moons. Alright, so this is in order. So here we have Ganymede, then we have Europa, then we have here Io, and way here is Callisto. Okay, let's use Stellarium. Let's magnify the moons, starting with Ganymede. Whoa. O, tingnan natin kung anong itsura ni Ganymede through the eyes of Stellarium. Whoa. Alright. Fantastic. Okay, so this is Ganymede. Ganymede is the largest moon of Jupiter. And as you could see here, Ganymede is heavily cratered. Okay, Ganymede is a heavily cratered moon. Alright, let us now zoom in on Io. Europa first. Ito pala Europa. Okay, so here we go. Let's magnify Europa. Whoa. Okay, as you could see, ayan, medyo puti. That indicates that the surface of Europa is covered with ice. Ayan. Okay. Ayan, so Voyager nakakita niyan, and beneath that icy sheet is liquid water. Ayan, may mga striations, so those are cracks on the surface of the icy sheet, indicating tidal forces between Europa and Jupiter. Europa is a very good candidate for the existence of life because of the presence of liquid water beneath the icy sheet of Europa. Okay, so isn't that fascinating? Okay, then this is the mighty Jupiter. Okay, let's magnify the image of, whoa, kita na yung great red spot. Yun. So, in the past several days, medyo nakatago yan. So, umiikot ang Jupiter. Jupiter is one of the fastest rotating planet. Yan, mabilis siyang umikot on its axis. Okay? So, fascinating indeed. Then here we have Io. Alright, Io is one of the most geologically active moon in the solar system with more than 400 active volcanoes. Ayan, so yellow yan, that means that Io is covered with sulfur. Ayan. And there are 400 active volcanoes on Io. Alright, fascinating. Wow. Okay, and lastly, we have Callisto. Okay, and just like Ganymede, Callisto is a heavily cratered moon, as you could see here. You know? Okay, Callisto is a heavily cratered moon. Okay, so that's Jupiter. Dated December 12. So ganito yung makikita natin if we look at Jupiter through a telescope. But we are looking at Jupiter to the eyes of Stellarium. Okay? Alright, let's zoom in on Saturn. Okay, whoa. 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 Yan, wow. That is so amazing. Ayan, that's Saturn. Okay, with its ring system. Okay, so this is Saturn, dated December 12, 2020. Okay. Alright. And this is Titan. Okay, let's magnify Titan. Titan is the only moon in the solar system that has a thick atmosphere. Yan. Medyo hazy. Yan, that indicates that Titan is surrounded by a thick atmosphere made up mostly of nitrogen. Okay, so the atmosphere is nitrogen-based. Parang sa Earth. Because the most abundant gas in the Earth's atmosphere is nitrogen. Okay, and as discovered by the Huygens space probe, may liquid on Titan, liquid methane. Hindi liquid water, but liquid methane. So Titan is also a good candidate for the existence of life. Okay, yan, so balik na natin. Pag wala naman telescope, and if we will face southwest, so, ganito yung makikita natin. Getting ready for the Great Conjunction yan. Halos magkadikit na sila. Okay? Alright. So, that's Jupiter and Saturn. Alright? Fascinating indeed. Okay, so we're back and we are simulating now the night sky. Our simulation is dated December 13, 2020. This is about 6 o'clock in the evening. So this would be the appearance of Jupiter and Saturn on December 13, 2020 at 6 o'clock if you will face the southwestern part of the night sky. So kung mapapansin po ninyo, halos malapit na ang Jupiter and Saturn. The closest approach of Jupiter and Saturn will be on December 21. That's what we call the Grand or the Great Conjunction. So itong ginagawa po natin ngayon, we are simulating the Grand Conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, so kung mapapansin ninyo, halos malapit na ang Jupiter and Saturn. Okay? Alright, so let's magnify Jupiter para makita po natin yung positioning ng Galilean Moons and we'll compare that to yesterday's appearance of the Galilean Moons. Alright, so here we go. Whoa. 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 Okay, so this is Jupiter and its Galilean moons. Okay, so yung Europa talagang very close to Jupiter. Alright, so this is in order. So this is Ganymede, then this is Io, then very close to Jupiter is Europa, and way over here is Callisto. Okay, so this is Ganymede. Ganymede is the largest moon of Jupiter. Let's magnify Ganymede. And Ganymede is also the largest moon in the solar system. Right? And as you could see, Ganymede is a heavily cratered moon. Right? As seen by the Voyager space probes. Alright. So that's Ganymede. Alright, then let's zoom in on Io. Okay, so Io is right here. Okay, Io is a geologically active moon with more than 400 active volcanoes, as seen by the Voyager space probe. The surface of Io is covered with sulfur, yan, kaya medyo yellowish yung color ng moon. Okay, so there are active volcanoes on Io. Really fascinating indeed. Then, close to Jupiter right here is Europa. Ayan, so let's magnify Europa. Okay, Europa is really an interesting moon because as seen by the Voyager space probes, Europa is covered with ice, with water ice. And we know that beneath that solid icy sheet is liquid water. So Europa is really a good candidate for the existence of life outside planet Earth. And if you will notice, there are lines or streaks or striations indicating tidal forces between Europa and Jupiter. Okay, and way back here is Callisto. Alright, so just like Ganymede, okay, Callisto is also heavily cratered. Yan, okay, so that's Callisto. So just like Ganymede, Callisto is a heavily cratered moon of Jupiter. Alright, so that would be the appearance of Jupiter and the Galilean Moons on December 13, 2020 at about 6 o'clock in the evening. Okay. Alright, so let's zoom in on Saturn. Yan, halos magkalapit na sila. So this is Saturn. Whoa. 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 Alright. Amazing. So this is the magnificent Saturn. And so there are several moons surrounding Saturn. And this is its ring system with the Cassini division. Alright. Fascinating. And right here is Titan. Alright, so Titan, as I mentioned before, is the only moon in the solar system with a thick atmosphere made up of nitrogen, just like the Earth. Alright, and again, scientists believe that Titan may support life. In fact, the Cassini-Huygens probe, specifically the Huygens probe, have discovered liquid methane on Titan. Okay. Alright, so that's Saturn with its moons. Okay, so let's go back. So this would be the appearance of Jupiter and Saturn if you will face the southwestern part of the night sky on December 13, 2020. Okay. Okay, so we have gone through 1 week of computer simulation using Stellarium of the close approach of Jupiter and Saturn. So we started December 7, 2020 and up to December 13, 2020. So, we will do a fast forward of this simulation until we reach the grand date, which is December 21, 2020, wherein Jupiter and Saturn will be in its closest approach. Okay, so everybody, let's now tune in on this computer simulation using Stellarium of this grand conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, so that's our fast forward computer simulation of the Jupiter-Saturn close approach from December 14 to December 19. So you have noticed that Jupiter and Saturn are really getting close to each other. Halos magdikit na po sila. And if you have noticed, by December 19, halos iisang star na lang ang tingin natin sa kanila if we will face the southwestern part of the night sky. Okay, so we will now simulate the Jupiter-Saturn approach from December 20, the day before the conjunction, and the grand conjunction itself. Alright, so let us now simulate the grand or the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, we're back and we are using this computer program called Stellarium to simulate the night sky. This is in preparation for the so-called great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. This great conjunction will be on December 21, 2020. So our computer simulation now is dated December 20, 2020. That is the day before the Great Conjunction. Now, kung mapapansin po ninyo, if you will face southwest in the night sky, Jupiter and Saturn appear as a single bright star. So ito tinatawag nilang Christmas star. Okay, actually this appearance of Jupiter and Saturn will go on from December 21 hanggang December 30 na po yan. So parang ang Christmas star na po yung appearance nila. But the maximum closest approach will be on December 21. So hindi pa talaga masyadong dikit yung dalawa. Okay, if you will magnify, ayan po sila, Jupiter and Saturn. So medyo meron pang konting gap na lang. The maximum approach or the conjunction itself will be on December 21. So, ngayon, we are simulating the day before. December 20 po itong simulation natin. Okay, but if you will look closely, yan, kung wala kayong telescope, yan, di ba, halos parang single bright star na sila. Okay? And, if you are using a telescope, okay, ang appearance ng Jupiter and Saturn para silang nasa isang field of view. Okay? So para silang nasa field of view. So we will shift to ocular. Yan, ocular view. Yun. See? So kunyari ito po yung field of view ng ating telescope. So you could see the two planets Jupiter and Saturn in one field of view. Okay? So, isn't that fascinating, di ba? Okay? Sa mga nakaraan linggo, di ba, hiwalay yung dalawa. So, you need to move your telescope para lang masilip yung dalawa. Pero ito, the two planets are now in a single field of view. Alright? Okay, so tanggalin muna natin yung ocular view and let's magnify the planets. Yan. Starting with Jupiter. Tingnan natin yung appearance ng mga Galilean Moons. Alright, so here we go. Whoa. Whoa. Yan, alright. Okay. Fascinating. So this is in order. Callisto, Ganymede, Io, and yung closest sa Jupiter at this date, December 20, is Europa. Okay. And yan, nakita yung Saturn, no? So, sa isang field of view ng telescope, makikita nyo yung Saturn and Jupiter. Okay. So, let's magnify Saturn. Anong itsura niya on December 20? Whoa. Magnificent Saturn. Okay. With Titan right here. And again, Titan is the only moon in the solar system that has an atmosphere. Ayan. Alright. This is Enceladus. Here. Okay. And as discovered by Cassini-Huygens probe, Enceladus also is covered with water ice, parang Europa. And many astronomers believe that Enceladus may also be a good candidate for the existence of life outside planet Earth. Okay, so that's Enceladus, one of the moons of Saturn. And also Titan. Titan also is a candidate for the existence of life because of its atmosphere, similar to Earth, which is nitrogen-based, and liquid methane was discovered by the Huygens probe. Alright, so that's Saturn. Okay, and the Galilean Moons, and we have here the mighty Jupiter. Alright, so ocular view ulit natin. Ganito po ang makikita ninyo if you are using a telescope. Yan. So you could see the two planets in one field of view. Okay, December 20 po itong simulation natin. The maximum approach of these two giant planets will be on December 21. Okay, so isn't that fascinating indeed? Alright, so that's our simulation dated December 20. That's the day before the Great Conjunction. Okay, and I'm back. So we are now simulating using Stellarium, the night sky, and our simulation is dated December 21, 2020. This is now the so-called Great Conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, Jupiter and Saturn is at its closest approach on December 21, and as you could see in our simulation, talagang dikit na yung talagang closest approach na yung Jupiter and Saturn. So the two planets, they appear now as a single bright star if you will face southwest. Yan, yung single bright star na yan, yung natawag nilang Christmas star. That is the conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Okay, so isn't that fascinating indeed? So, pag tumingin kayo sa southwest, yung pinaka maliwanag na between, ayan na po yung dalawang planeta na nag-align. Okay, Saturn and Jupiter. Alright, and if you will magnify, let's magnify, ayan, unlike yung December 20, so, ito talagang dikit na sila. Okay? Alright, so, konti na lang yung gap. And, ayan, talagang parang iisang between na lang yung nakikita sa kalawakan, sa night sky. Alright, so, isn't that fascinating? Okay, so, let's magnify these two planets. Ayan. Okay. And you could see here the four Galilean moons in order: Callisto, Ganymede, Io, and Europa. Okay, and to close na rin yung Saturn. Okay. Ayan, so that's Jupiter, and this is the magnificent Saturn. Ayan, with Titan and the other moons. Alright. Okay. Okay, yan. So, this is the Great Conjunction. And, ang maganda po neto, if we will put into ocular view, kunyari sumisilip po tayo sa telescope, ayan, so kita yung dalawang planeta in one field of view. Ayan. Okay, so isn't that fascinating? So, these two planets, so kitang-kita sa isang field of view ng telescope. So, medyo mas malapit sila ngayon dalawa sa isa't isa, unlike nung simulation natin on December 20. So, ito na talaga yung tinatawag natin na the Great Conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Okay? So these two giant planets can be observed in one field of view. Kahit gumagamit po kayo ng binoculars, ganyan na ganyan din po ang makikita ninyo. You could see those two planets in one field of view. Okay? So that is our great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn, which will occur on December 21. So, ginamit natin ng computer program called Stellarium to simulate kung ano po ang makikita natin, what to expect. Yan. Pag dating ng December 21, 2020. Okay, so that is the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. So before we end, let us do a fast forward of the approach of Jupiter and Saturn. So we will do this from December 7 up to December 21. So be amazed and be fascinated as Jupiter and Saturn approach each other up to December 21 in the so-called the Great Conjunction of these two giant planets. Okay, let's watch this. Well, I hope you have learned a lot about what to expect on December 21, the so-called Great Conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Now, you don't need a telescope to observe and to be fascinated by this very rare astronomical event. So just look up at the southwestern sky, and the brightest star that you will see in the southwestern sky on December 21, 2020, that is the Great Conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. Now, the Vedan Society of Young Astronomers will be conducting a virtual telescope viewing of this great conjunction on December 21, 2020. So just check out our Facebook page, the Vedan Society of Young Astronomers, and always check our Twitter account for this telescope viewing of the great conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. So that's all for tonight. Thank you for watching. This is June Cajigal saying, live long and prosper. And I will see you guys on December 21 for the so-called the Great Conjunction of Jupiter and Saturn. See all of you guys. Bye-bye and good night.
We choose to go to the moon in this decade and do the other things, not because they are easy, but because they are hard. Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best of our energies and skills. Because that challenge is one that we're willing to accept, one we are unwilling to postpone.